See. Okay.
Is that the correct one? Nope. Good morning, everyone. I guess afternoon.
Yeah.
Hello, hello. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure everything is good. They left me to tech support, and that was a mistake. That's
Better
good
you
to
than
know.
me because I know nothing. So
I know bits and pieces. We're here. We're present. That's all that matters, right? Very, very chill episode. Most indefinitely. Um, I I'm still coming off of SoccerCon. Like, it's probably going to take me like 3 weeks of just recovery for this one. The funny thing is, this was one of the chiller soccer cons I worked, but it was just a lot. So I'm still tired. Like today, I just did a load of laundry for costume stuff, and I've been cleaning wigs slowly and all the good stuff.
yeah, that's important after a con. Self-care after a
Yes.
con is a must because you kind of what's how do I want to phrase this? You kind of give up a lot to do what you love, but then when you're back in the real world, you're like, oh, I still have to catch up and relax, and because that's not cons aren't really a vacation when you're going. It's work. So
Yeah, especially for us, it's definitely work. And it's not like it's bad work. It's my favorite kind
no,
of
not
work.
at all.
It's just, yeah, I jumped right back into work immediately after the vacation. And so I even took a couple extra days off. But
Good.
kind of, we ended up exploring Seattle. We had Thermo and we had Sakura with us. So we ended up doing some stuff in Seattle, which was really fun. But as to flat crap, I think like the con blues finally hit me. Like I was doing good for a couple of days where I was like really steady and like, yeah, this is great. Let's do these things. And then yesterday I woke up and I'm like, wow, I miss people. Wow, I miss my friends.
Again, that's just part of con, unfortunately, is the highs and the lows and the dopamine that you're flooded with when you're at a con because you're seeing people you love, you're seeing costumes you love, you're seeing panels you love, you're seeing merch you want to buy but probably shouldn't, all that good stuff.
No, that's exactly it. And good morning, everyone. Hi, Cool Gamer. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Sakura. Yes, SoccerCon was a whirlwind this year. No, it was really fun. I actually got to do stuff that I normally don't get to do at SoccerCon. Me and Soccer prioritized doing some meetups, which we haven't done in years,
Oh
and that was
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, no, I basically coming into the con, I'm like, my only thing, the one thing I refused to miss at this con was the Don May meetup. So we went and did that, and it was super fun. It was run by one of my friends. We went to
Aw.
the skate meetup, which was really, really fun. I had a blast. I forget how much I love those dumb gay boys. Um,
We
and
do love dumb gay boys.
yeah, and we also ran our own meetup for the first time in a long time. We did the
Oh
Twisted
yeah, that's right.
Wonderland gathering, which was a lot because we also had 5 panels to run through the weekend. And yeah, so it was crazy, but it was good. I honestly learned a ton. So this is a good episode because it's kind of all fresh in my brain still. We did a lot of
Yeah.
like I only did one photo shoot during SoccerCon just because it didn't line up with anything else in the costume I wanted to take pictures of. The only time I could take pictures was 10 p.m. on Friday night, so
Mm,
we made it happen.
not the most opportune time.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it was just a whole lot, but I learned a lot about some like tidbits on photography at conventions and what to like kind of build up your expectations for and how to do some of the gathering stuff and how those photos actually end up turning out because now I'm going through and editing pictures from the gathering.
Exactly.
So this will be an episode that's fresh in my mind for tired brain. I am still working on caffeine and liquid IV, so
Yes, I have apple juice because it's like
yay,
cider. It's very good.
yummy.
I guess we should introduce ourselves.
Oh
We
hi.
forgot to do that, even though our names are no here. Um,
Hi, child.
let's still be formal. So I'm head in the clouds. I'm just helping fill in today. We have our normal hosts. They're a little busy, so we just wanted to come in and have a fun episode and talk about con photography, your wrap up of Sakura Con, um, and just have fun and check in with you guys because
I know we've been busy. Yeah, no, I we
yeah.
haven't done a whole lot of episodes lately, and that's just because we've had. I know you guys have had cons.
Yeah.
we had Emerald City, and then almost a month later we had SakuraCon.
Yeah.
So we've just had a lot going on. So hi everybody, I'm Chibi Raincloud. I'm the Seattleite of our group. Do a lot of Pacific Northwest stuff. I am not in cosplay today. I just felt like being a pastel baby, so I am pastel today.
We love Pastel Baby.
Yeah,
With
and
your
this is
little cushion.
Peppadoo. Yep, and this is Peppadoo. She has to be the star of the show.
Peppadoo.
My sweet baby. No, my kids are so happy. I was gone for a whole week, and my good friend pets it for them. And so like they haven't left my side because they're like, Mom's home. I was only gone for like 4 days. But,
only 4 days. That feels like forever in cat times.
oh yes, definitely. Yeah, so a little brush up on like SoccerCon wrap up. It was super fun. We ended up rooming with Thermo, which I gotta call like shout out to Thermo, like best roommate ever. Honestly, saved our butts more than once this weekend. So that was wonderful. We got to do some fun stuff with Twisted
Thermo has a
Wonderland
habit of
together.
doing that. Even when we were for ECC, when we were right down the street from the convention center. Sam it was helpful having someone with us who knew the city already. So I was like, oh, thank God.
Right. No, it was really nice. I mean, by all accounts, it was a pretty chill con for us. Usually our usual soccer con looks like competition, 5 to panels plus whatever we're trying to squeeze in. Like we ended up going to go see Flo because Flo was there live, and like why would we miss it? I feel old, but it was worth it. It was really good. We almost went to the other band that was playing, but just didn't line up with their schedule. But like we ended up going to the movie because there was a movie premiere we wanted to see at SoccerCon. We were the first people to watch the new Sasaki Miyano movie. It was amazing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so like we did a lot of like really fun chill stuff that we normally never get to do because we're so busy at SoccerCon that it's like, oh hey, we can actually squeeze these little things.
And that's what we mean when we're saying like it's work. It's just your schedule is so regimented because you're there to do things and have certain things done, and then it's over, and then the time's gone, and so you got to fill in what you can,
and we honestly barely slept too. Yeah, we had panels. We do some day panels and we do some night panels.
You had like a pajama party, right?
Yeah, so we had 3 late night panels and then we had 2 day panels. And so like the way that schedule lined up was a little rough because we had 1 late night panel on Fridays, so we didn't even get to bed until past midnight, and then I had to be up on Saturday, but like ready to go in Weiwuxian by 10 a.m. to make it to the Danmei meetup. And then I had 4 costume changes on Saturday for the first time in like years. Which was very fun, well placed. I knew exactly when I was changing and what I did, so I didn't burn myself out. I was like, I'm changing here, I'm changing here, I'm changing here, and like for these sets, and then my costume got kind of progressively easier through the day, so it was fine. But yeah, we had a pajama party panel, which was really cute. It turned out really great. That was Saturday night. Then we also had another yaoi. We had 2 yaoi panels. So we had one Friday and one Saturday. And then we had a panel on Friday for my Cosplay 101, and then a panel on Sunday for a cosplay competition. So honestly, yeah, it was kind of busy. It was busy. Nicely kind of nicely spread out, other than the lack of sleep, because we had such early things and then such late panels that we were like, oh God. Blessed to our other panelists that helped us, because I think they got less sleep than we did, but they still joined us for our panels, which is lovely. I think the hardest part about SoccerCon this year was it's in 2 buildings now. At least
I saw that.
Yeah, so Emerald City was nice because it was all in
one building.
So it was super easy. I didn't get to see a lot. I worked most of Emerald City, but like it was nicely condensed because everything was in one place. I did get to see things even though I was working, because like on my lunch break, I would go up to Artist Alley and walk around while I was snacking. So like I still got to see quite a bit of the convention. I feel like I didn't get to see a lot, even though we did a lot, just because between the 2 buildings, you have to add on like a minimum of half an hour of trek time between
back and forth.
Yeah, because you got to worry about lights. There was actually a play going on that weekend, so we had to deal with play stuff because it's in front of the Paramount Theater.
Oh yeah, the theater was right there.
Yeah, so I
remember we passed that Indian restaurant that we ate at, and that's where that building was under the
Paramount's right there.
Yeah.
So it's just like it was just such bad. It was just so hard to get from one building to the other building, because one building, they had the Artist Alley and they had the main events. So opening ceremonies, the concerts, all that was in the old building. And then the new building had vendor hall, and then all the panels and all the movies and like the entertainment, I guess. So it was really odd, and honestly kind of difficult, because trying to plan your day of like, hey, I have these events in these buildings during these times, like you had to make sure you were giving yourself enough travel
Enough
time
time.
to go between the two buildings, which honestly was just brutal. Like that was the hardest part. We were lucky because we had a hotel that was literally right in between the two
That's right.
buildings, so we actually had it pretty easy going. Like our travel time was probably less than most other people's just because of where our location was. But I gotta say, like that was one of I ended up being late to a couple of things. Well, not necessarily later than I like to be to
Yeah.
things. I was on time. Because it just we weren't used to having that travel time. We weren't used to going between the two buildings. And then when you get to the new building, it's all escalators and you got to wait for the escalators.
So
There's no easy staircase until like the fourth floor.
yeah.
And so it's just like if you're in a hurry, there's no hurry. Like you
No,
can't
not
hurry.
during a con where there's, thousands
Lots
of
of
other people
people.
heading every direction. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
so honestly, and that's why I was saying like I really wanted to do more photo shoots and like more pictures, especially with the new building. But it just never happened because there was just so much running back and forth in between things. There was never a good time. It
Yeah.
was really interesting because we were, I don't know if this is like a Pacific Northwest thing or I've seen it at Katsu cons and other cons as well, but like meetups and gatherings. Sometimes the convention holds them and runs them, and so you'll see them in like the guidebook. This is when this is meeting.
Yeah.
Like, here's a Critical Role meetup.
It's like an
Here's the
actual
Marvel.
panel almost or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some cons don't. So SoccerCon is one of the ones that's unofficial. So bless bless the human Kevin. One of the people who used to work for SoccerCon who does the meetups. He makes like a PDF and gets us organized. And bless that soul,
Oh,
he's a wonderful
yeah.
human
That's great.
for doing this. But it was really interesting this year because most people didn't know the new building. Most of the meetups were held in the old building because we didn't know where to meet up or what things were called yet, which kind of sucked because there was a lot of overlap, especially because it was a very rainy weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say you guys get lots of weather, so
it
that
was
doesn't help.
really cold and wet this weekend. So a lot of the photo shoots that were planned outside got moved inside, which overlapped with other photo shoots, which just made chaos.
I even thought about that with like Artist Alley. I was like, people are like carrying paper
Prints
that they
and
just
stuff.
bought, like prints, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, no, that's rough. We ended up actually Sakura was thinking before our brains shut off, working on con stuff and was like, "Hey, don't you have a poster tube?" Which I do because I
Smart.
do D&D and I have a map tube. So we took my map tube, so our prints were actually safe.
Good.
So that's a thing to keep in mind if you have a con that you're doing a lot of traveling like between buildings and stuff. But it was really honestly the meetups were awesome. The ones I went to, I learned a lot from, and I learned a lot because we went to two very specifically different kinds. We went to one, the Danmei meetup, that was really big, and it was so busy, and there were a lot of people there because it's very popular. But my friend was so organized that it went so unbelievably smoothly. I couldn't believe it was such a clean
It
photo
really
shoot.
helps when you have someone who's like
Yeah,
literally just organizing everything and getting everyone's attention, having them move where they need to be. Like
exactly. And he was
process.
and he was so calm and like easygoing. And he actually, the thing that I learned that I will now do from now on, I'm going to get one, is he had a mic. He had a little mic on him so we could hear him even above the crowd. And so I guess when you're looking into doing meetups or gatherings, if you're using one of these gatherings as your main time to get pictures of yourself or your cosplays, try to gauge the size, whether you're running it or coming as an attendee. How many people are going to be there? Are you going to have time to take nice pictures of yourself if that's what you're looking for, or if you want the group experience where you're taking pictures of people within the fandom together?
Yeah,
especially for the larger ones, because that's what our Twisted Wonderland one turned into. It was way bigger. I mean, I knew it was popular, but it was bigger than I was.
Yeah, there was a lot of people I saw. That was great.
Yeah, it was big, which was amazing. Bless a person who had a loud voice helped us a little bit because I was losing my voice at that point. Thank you, Idia.
They had a built-in mic.
Exactly. And it was kind of confusing. I showed up a little late because the escalators broke, so things were crazy.
They did that a few times, even during
yeah,
ECP.
Yeah. So the escalators broke, so we got caught up in the traffic. On top of that, the Genshin group had been moved indoors to our location that was previously empty. Yeah, and Genshin is massive, so like trying to get everyone organized with two large groups was just chaos. It happened. We did wonderful. I'm really happy how it turned out. But I learned a lot. Video. Yeah, and so it was really fun. So the way I run my gatherings and meetups is I make a Facebook group online so we can kind of get an idea of how many people are going to be there. Usually at the con, you'll pick a location. The way Soccer Con ran was I got in contact with Kevin. We looked at the list. I picked a location that was empty during a certain time of day, what I thought was perfect. We did Saturday at 2 p.m. Because that was after the cosplay contest and a lot of the bigger events. So I assumed we'd have a lot of people. And so it just turned out to be a really good time to do it. And keep in mind like how you want to organize the shots. So the way we did it is we did a full group shot of everybody there, and then we went through each one of the dorms. So Hartsville, Octanville, and Savannah Claude, and we went through each of the houses. And then after that, we started doing like we did each one of the clubs, and then we actually had a couple of like we had the Star Senders, and we had a couple of the other events from the show. So we from the game. So we ended up doing like each one. So everybody got a good series of pictures.
And that's
I
like that's
actually
at least like 20, 25 people right there. Like that's awesome.
easy. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to pull up the picture, I also kind of wanted to show an example.
Is that on your page?
No, I was just going to pull it up, but you already have.
Oh yeah, let me.
So if you want to. Yeah. So the nice thing was, even though it was really big, we actually had a really good spot to take pictures. So our pictures actually look pretty incredible. Even though it's done in a weird building, there was a lot of really good lighting, and the backdrop actually had like a foresty, grassy backdrop. There's some plants in the background that kind of toned out a lot of the sterile whiteness of a convention building. So I'm honestly really excited about getting these pictures out and finished editing because
a location can change
good our
so
location
much.
is. Yeah. So I always tell people like if you're putting on a gathering or there's going to be a gathering, really get to know your location, especially if it's a con that you're not sure about or a building you've never been in. Do your research. That's so very important. I think it turned out really good. You know what?
I'm excited to see.
Yeah, let me pull up.
Because it's either like one or the other. You really want like a place that really feels like it kind of surrounds the character, or you just kind of want like a blank space to show off what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But again, there's so much you can do with photography.
Screenception. This was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so this was the group. So we had a really good group. And like this background was absolutely gorgeous.
Very pretty.
It's hard to tell like in this lighting, especially Facebook ruining it. Wrong way. This way. But with some of the single shots we were getting, we got some really good halo light back here. And so it turned out like our pictures are really looking solid, and I'm very excited about them just because of just this backdrop, which was kind of one of the reasons why I really wanted to use this location because I knew what it looked like.
Which building was that in?
This is in the old building.
I was going to say I didn't see that at ECC.
Yeah, so that's in the old building. It's the Juicy Cafe for anybody who knows the Seattle area. It was so pretty, and I really like how the pictures turned out. Especially some of the single shots, we did really good. But that was something we kept in mind. And so like the Dawn May shoot, even though it was really fun, we had a lot of like there was a lot of people. I got to meet a lot of other people that were really into Dawn May. I got to meet a lot of other Wuxians and Lanzans, and like it was a really fun experience. But I went into that not really wanting. It wasn't about the photography, it was about making connections. So I didn't look into the location or where it was going to be or what it was going to look like. I was just there to meet people and see friends. Yeah. Meanwhile, Twist Wonderland, since I was running it, I was very self-conscious over, I want to run this. I want the pictures to look nice. And I want a good location, especially because I know what kind of outfits are in Twisted Wonderland. We were all in big draping robes or white uniforms or things like that. So I honestly decided to find an inside location on general principle, even though it was going to be kind of big because I knew nobody would want to be outside, especially if it started raining. And I didn't want to do that. Oh no, it's raining. Let's meet here instead, because a couple of groups had to do that.
Exactly. And that cuts into your group time and all of that. So just having, thinking of everything ahead of time is going to just make everything go smoother. And that location was great. You guys all looked great.
Thank you.
I don't know much about that fandom. I did play the game when it first launched because I was like, oh, Disney. But yeah, that looked great. That location, I was already thinking, I was like, oh, you could do like The Last of Us there, or
it's a really good location, especially for pictures. I wish we had more time because honestly, the hour flew by because we only scheduled an hour, which is about what each meetup is. The nice thing was, I've been doing meetups for years. I've done a lot of them. I did like some Delhi and Magus back in the day when those were popular. But I was really shocked because this year, the big thing was I had so many people reach out to me and like, obviously they had so much fun that they personally reached out to me and my partner Sakura and told us how good it went and how well things ran, which was really nice, especially because I feel like I learned so much and I have so many different ways to make it better. I have a couple
Well,
comments. We
yeah.
have Hopeless Knight says, I'm very jealous about your Don May meetup. It was very fun. I enjoyed myself. And the Twist one, my Twist meetup in Sabotan last year, the photos came out terrible because they moved the curtains and light was blinding. Oh no,
Oh
yeah,
no.
you're in a sunny area. It was raining for us, so like our lighting was just on point all weekend. And so on the flip side, I wanted to talk a little bit about the skate photo shoot because that was the opposite. So it was still a meetup. It was still gathering. It was still done the same way where somebody was like, okay, this is meetup time at this location. They were one of the groups that we started raining and all of us are like, can we go inside? None of us want to be outside.
No one wants to wreck their costumes or walk around
Exactly. And
damp and
even
moist
though
all
like
day.
outside would have worked really well because Skate the Infinity is a very like physical skateboard anime, we all decided inside was going to be a much better choice. And so Peculiar, if you want to go look her up on Instagram, they are just an amazing, incredible human, and I'm going to try to get them on the show because I love talking with them. Sadly, they ran a panel, the only panel I wanted to see this weekend, and it was the same time as my panel, so I didn't get to go. But they ran the skate meetup, and it was really fun, and it was very nice because it was a much smaller group. So it was probably what 15 of us max.
That's still a decent size.
Yeah, it was still a good size, but like it was enough that it was much more intimate. Like we sat around and talked for a little bit before we started taking pictures. I actually really like how Particular ran this particular event because they opened it up where we all introduced ourselves. And usually in these big meetups, we don't have time to,
There's no time,
hey, I'm so-and-so, this is my handle, this is where I'm from. But it was small enough that they were like, okay, well, let's talk. So we ended up sitting around and talking for a little bit. We introduced ourselves, who we are, who our pronouns are, something about the show that we loved, which really broke the ice because basically they asked, hey, what's your favorite quote from the show? And so we kind of all had a different quote that we were all like, oh, well, this is my favorite from this because of X, Y, and Z. And it kind of broke the ice and we all felt very comfortable almost immediately with each other.
I was going to say that's very smart in a collaborative way because, you know, you might not know everyone who decides to come to the meetup and you're getting more comfortable with each other before you're, you know, up taking pictures with each other.
Yeah,
breaking the ice. That's really smart.
Me and Sakura I've never been to a meetup that had ever been run that way.
Smart.
Yeah, and me and Sakura really enjoyed ourselves. It was so fun meeting these people and like sitting and talking. A couple of them had skateboards and they were like willing to let us all kind of share the skateboards because I didn't finish my skateboard in time. But it was such a wonderful experience that I had never had that kind of sweet, intimate, like, oh, this is a really nice close group. So first we took some group shots and then some character shots of everybody. And then afterwards, because we had time, the person running it really wanted to get some like fish lens 2000s like skate pictures. Yeah. And so they took out their old camera and we ended up sitting around and like each one of us basically that was comfortable took some solos with these shots. And I usually when I do smaller groups, I do some solo shots and stuff too if there's time and the opportunity. But just the idea of doing something collaborative where we all like jumped into this creative project that this person had imagined, I'm really excited to see how those shots turned out, like very excited, because honestly, it was such a fun idea. And even though I had no idea what we were getting into, it was just doing it and being part of that was such a wonderful experience. And I'm like, oh man, if I ever do another small group, I want to do something like this because it was so much fun. I got some really solid, like both me and Sakura got some really fun pictures of ourselves. So I actually have like a couple of cute pictures of us in those cosplays, which is nice. And so it was such a stark difference. Like the pictures that came out of the Don May meetup and the Twist Wonderland meetup are so different than what came out of the skate meetup, but they were all really good. The only note that we almost got in trouble and got kicked out because we were playing on skateboards. Be careful. Yeah. I fell off the skateboard, which got us in trouble. So be careful if you have big props because I'm fine physically. Everybody else was more scared for me than I was. No, I do a little bit of skating myself. I live next to a skate park. And once I got into skate, I did boarding. I got a board and started learning. So like, I was like, oh, I can pose with the skateboard just fine. Cause like, I know how to pose without drifting or moving. So I was like, oh, it's fine. But I grabbed one of the boards, that was like a cheap Walmart board because it was their prop, and I didn't realize how light it was. So when I stepped on it, it went right out from underneath me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have mine's about I think it's like 8 pounds is my board. So like I'm used to a pretty heavyweight one. And thank God one of the other boys there was a skater, and he let me use his board for the picture instead. Because once I stepped on his board, it was fine. But we did get in trouble for it. So if you're doing props or anything like that indoors, please be careful. You can still get kicked out of the con for being stupid.
Yeah, your safety has to come first when you're somewhere that's
exactly. And so, yeah, I know that's just some things to keep in mind if you're interested in running groups or photographies or meetups. I love them. They're such a great opportunity to meet other people. And I would love to do more of them because it's so fun. And you can do these out of con too. Like I plan on doing maybe one this summer that's going to be out of con for Twisted Wonderland or for Modauzushi or Danmei, just because I feel like it'd be really fun and I want to meet more people within the community.
It's a good way to network and
exactly
and just have a reason to hang out that's not at a con.
Right.
You don't have to wait for a con to do con stuff.
Exactly. And like you can also like for those meetups, if you have a friend going, you can always be like, hey, let's take a couple of shots of each other so then we have some singles of ourselves. Like you can use that time really well. It's just if the bigger it is, the more chaotic it's going to be, and the less likely you're getting just like single shots of your costume or just like group shots because there's a lot of people there. Yeah, no, the Danmei shoot was crazy huge.
And then there's always like I hear from every cosplayer after every con, oh, I forgot to take pictures. Oh, let's like we did at Ubu. Let's remember to take pictures this time,
right?
Which is partially why I bought a camera because we're so immersed in stuff. I was like, what if I just have a camera and I'm just taking pictures the whole time? That way we have pictures. And I'm like, I'm going to do that from now on. Because there's just not enough time sometimes. So you're just...
No, and that's exactly, it's really interesting because actually at Emerald City, there was a photo booth and I got some really nice pictures of this.
I wanted to do that so bad, but I didn't.
And it was such a good opportunity. And I think every cosplayer is like, I want to take good pictures because I'm going to be in cosplay and like the decked out, ready to go. And then we get to that point where we forget to take pictures. And so I think learning how to take haul pictures is something that you don't get good at until like way down the road. Honestly, this year I took a lot of really solid selfies that I was like, oh, I really like how that looked. And those are pictures that I'm going to be keeping in my like archive for things to keep, especially like the skate pictures. Oh, they turned out so good. Also, it was a modern building for a modern show. So like, I think it's easier for animes that take place like Chainsaw Man. Skate.
And you're in such a wonderful city that, anything.
There's lots of graffiti.
You can be My Hero. Anything that's in a city. Yeah.
And so like finding places to take pictures or doing stuff like that was easy. Like me and Sakura took advantage of the escalators. We took some really great shots in every one of our costumes with like the tiered, like Sakura was a little bit taller than me. So we took some like really good shots on the escalators. And I'm not going to lie, like those were the ones that I'm like, that looks pretty dang good. I'm keeping that one. So that's kind of nice. A lot of our selfies were really fun. I took some great like skate selfies with other skate cosplayers, and when I try to do selfies or like if I'm taking a picture with somebody at a con, I try really hard to either keep in mind my lighting of that part of the building. Like, is there outside lighting? Is there inside lighting? Does it affect the picture at all? It's something that you just kind of learn as you go with photography. But when I'm taking a picture, I tend to take my pictures at a different angle than straight on. Like, so if you're taking a picture of somebody in the hallway, especially with like fluorescent lights, taking a picture kind of angled downward will actually help a lot with the lighting in the photography itself.
And that's one of the things I was running into because one, I had literally just bought my camera the week before a con. So I was still learning how just to work it in general. But like when you're going from outside to inside, or when you're in a panel room versus, out on the floor or on those beautiful stairs that have like the wooden and then the windows, like all the lighting is different and everywhere. So you have to like adjust and make sure you know where you're shooting and how that photo is going to turn out. And it was super interesting to think in that aspect. I can actually show, because that was not part of the ECC wrap-up show, but I took a lot of great photos. So I kind of want to share some of my favorites.
Yeah, while you're getting that set up, I'm going to share a couple of the skate pictures we took just to kind of give you a perspective. So we're going to do entire screen share. Okay. I'm messier than the others, but here we go. So like, why do you do this to me? So these pictures just were taken on the con floor, but like,
Just the concrete floor gives so
yeah,
much
but this is
roughness.
also a really good trick. Like there, we were literally right in front of like the merch vendor. So the booth for SoccerCon merchandise was maybe like 60 feet behind us. It was
Oh,
also the entrance to the main stage. So there was a lot of people in this area. But to make it feel like we weren't surrounded by people, we did a lot of like angled photography, which I think honestly worked really
smart
well.
cropping.
Yeah, because we can smart crop this as well, and it's going to be a really fun angle. Um, and I think that's why like the skate stuff, even though there was a big crowd, we tried really hard to just kind of like get these feelings, these kinds of pictures. I
Kind of
think,
isolate yourself
yeah,
as much as you can.
because this is your typical con picture, right?
Yep.
Like you're just taking some straight on shots of cosplayers. We tried real hard to do some fun selfies, like here's an angled shot kind of down on us. But you can show your stuff now. Stop sharing.
No problem. Yeah, that's super fun. Let's see where I want to show. So at the end of every con, I personally like to make a post specifically about for my favorite cosplays I saw at the con. Usually pictures I took of them. Either something about their showmanship, something about the actual build, something caught my eye and made it super memorable. So I always like to make a post at the end of a con to just kind of shout some people out and also help find them on Instagram, because people see the post if you tag at the con, and it helps me find all the people I took pictures of as well, which is smart because I was not smart on the day of and like getting their business cards and stuff. So this one, since we were talking about Genshin, this one was from ECC this last con, when we got to visit our lovely Chibi out there.
That I saw that one. It was so cool.
I was blown away. The coloration, the fact that it moved like it was a moving puppet. I forget. I think it's Cloud Retainer, from Genshin Impact. Yeah, Cloud Retainer. I tagged it, and it was so beautiful. And you can see the person behind here. Like that's how tall they were, and they were about like 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah,
This puppet was, you know, maybe 8 feet tall or so, and it was huge, and it absolutely blew me away. It was probably my favorite cosplay of the entire con.
it was so cool.
This lady was one of the first ones I saw, and just the sheer amount of paintwork and molding and makeup. She was like a female, like a Swamp Thing lady from the Black Lagoon. I didn't get it in the picture, but her purse was like one of those like glowing undersea balls. It was really cool. But she blew me away. And again, I'm trying to, obviously there's some people in the back here, but I still really want the focal point. Even when I'm taking those con floor photos, I wanted to show off the person I'm taking a picture of. This one's kind of blurry because we were outside and I wasn't um, fully switched into outside mode yet, but I caught this, and they were doing a full-on show. This is from Full Metal Alchemist, and they had their characters down pat. They had a brother and sister rivalry, and it was just hilarious to watch. He's like stripping on the thing to show off his muscles. If you're familiar with one Full Metal Alchemist, you'll definitely recognize them, Armstrong siblings. This one was fun to play with. I did do a little bit of editing, just because the cityscape alone, again, it felt kind of like Gotham. So unfortunately, I got these guys in the back, but even just the center and the framing, the looks, they really embodied their characters, and I'm a fan of like DC Batman's Rogue Gallery, so they were awesome. This guy's Bowser was absolutely amazing. I actually really do like this shot just because it feels very like royal, feels very like he's center stage. Even with the buildings around him, he still, definitely pops up among there. I had actually never seen a Wong or a Ancient One cosplay before, so I was very excited to see them, and they were both handmade and absolutely fantastic. The textures up close were amazing, and they were very kind. They were actually, yes, I met them and got their tags, so shout out to them. And then this Medusa, I'm a huge Greek mythology nerd. She blew me away just because of like the makeup and the wig alone, just with all these like rubber snakes and the dress. She was absolutely beautiful. Ugando and his cosplay by Shinobi Buddy. They are kind of not world famous, but they definitely travel to a lot of cons. And this was my first time actually meeting him. It was fantastic. They were both very kind. I think this was actually the first day of ECC, and we were rushing by, but I wanted to stop and get a photo. And then Mitch and Meg cosplay. They're very big up and coming cosplayers.
They're so fun. They're so sweet. We talked for a little bit.
Yeah, they're so sweet. I met them actually every day, but I only got this one photo of them. Or no, I did get. They did Gender Bend, Toga, and Zabi one day, and I got to take pictures of them too from my hero. But they were super kind, super fun people. Definitely follow them and give them some likes because they're very inventive and their craft is impeccable. And then this was the last one, so I do because you can only post 10 photos on Instagram. Isn't that beautiful? And just the night lighting, like I had to. I was like, can I sneak in here and get one? Because they were doing a photo shoot, so I didn't really want to interrupt. So I just kind of took a photo while the other photographer was taking a photo, just to not interrupt and take their time. But just the lighting. This is a Valkyrie from the God of War series in the Norse world in the newer games, and just the time, the wings, the armor, all of it. The light up sword was beautiful, and again, I really like this photo just because of the lighting. There's no editing on this photo. This is so
fun. I mean, this just goes to show that like you can take really good pictures at conventions. You just have to be creative and versatile about like your location and like who you're shooting with. Because like one of the things I always tell people, especially when looking for a photographer or doing photography in cons, is learn what kind of style you're interested in. Especially for like action, like do you want action shots that are like city shots, like a Superman or Spider-Man, like my hero, or are you looking for my like stills or like portraits? Because every photographer is going to have like a different style of photography. Mm-hmm. Yours is very like, it's portraited, but it's very like aesthetically pleasing. Like it's a very like creative aesthetic, which I very much like. We have to shoot next time we're together.
Yes. Woo-woo.
Yeah, no. And so I always tell people like when you're looking into photography, especially at convention buildings, if you want to do like a solo shoot or a gathering or something, look into your photographers and who you have in the area and what kind of work that they do. Because if you're very specifically looking for a very specific look for a character, then you might want to reach out to a photographer that you look at their profile and go, oh, I like this right here.
Mm-hmm. Like if you want glamour or busts, or if you want something that's really going to show off the entire costume, like you said, action shots, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so especially if you're paying for photography, like these are just free fun shots. Gatherings are almost always free too, where you can just show up and take pictures. But if you're going into more like you're purchasing a photographer's time to do work on yourself, or you're working with somebody you know. The top 3 things that I always tell people is conscious of time. You only get an hour with them. They probably have other shoots lined up or lunch or another event. They don't have time to waste. So these are very business transactions. You want to have your location figured out. Maybe if you don't know the area, if you're shooting in a place you've never been, maybe reach out to the photographer. Tell them about your character, because don't assume they know who you are and what kind of thing you're looking for. And they might be able to point you in the correct direction. If not, research the area and see if there's any good photography spots within the building. Research the style and then research your poses. If you have like 10 solid poses and ideas all ready to go, that photo shoot's going to go so much smoother than wasting your time thinking about each and every like, oh, I don't know what to do.
And next. It definitely should be collaborative.
Yeah.
But if you can know your character, know your angles.
Yeah. Get an idea of what kind of imagery you want, what pictures you want before going into the photo shoot. And if your photographer is like, oh, hey, I have these ideas, let's go with it, then that's awesome, because some photographers, like one of my good friends who does photography for me, she's a huge fan of Spice and Wolf. She shoots a lot of my Spice and Wolf stuff because she's watched the show. So me and her kind of collab on we know what to look for. And I'm just a firm believer in being prepared going into photo shoots. And it's something that especially for new people, like have your poses ready. It's so much easier. In the old school days, we used to like print out pages of poses. Now you can just hold them on your phone and be like, well, this is the picture I want, which is really nice. And we haven't done comments. I'm sorry, everybody. Let's go through comments.
Sorry,
Um,
we're super chatty today.
yeah, Hopeless Night. That's what the Twist meetup was at 8X. Ended up being 2 hours long. Oh my god, that's amazing though. I mean, honestly, I think our Twist Wonderland meetup could have been longer if we had the space. Another photo shoot was took over the space, so we had to leave, unfortunately. Sakura, it was so wonderful getting back into gatherings. I honestly, that was the highlight of my con, was getting into gatherings and going to see people. I started putting an Insta QR code as my lock screen so people had a quick way to find me. Genius advice! That is
That's
actually
very
quite
smart.
amazing. I just have cost cards that I hand out and then hope people find me. But holy crap, I'm probably going to do that now because that's genius.
Yeah, that's
Sakura,
very smart.
FMA cosplayers are cool. Heckin' we both have a special place in our heart for FMA.
The Full Metal.
Yeah, Hopeless Night, these photos are so cool. And Anthony, hello, sorry, I've been missing out on your live streams. It's okay, thank you for being here. We
We
appreciate it.
haven't been doing too many, so we
Yeah,
appreciate you
no,
showing up.
we've been kind of off doing
Been
our own
busy.
things and working on cons. I know I took last month off myself, just for mental health. The month before was Thermo's turn, and I think this month is going to be Jinx. So we're all kind of rotating through hosts and taking breaks, which is great. We need it. I think everybody's kind of hitting either burnout really early in the season, or we need to better arrange our thoughts so we're more organized.
All of the above.
Yeah. But yeah, today we were just talking about photography at conventions.
Mhm.
No, so I got one photo shoot done, and that night picture you took actually made me think of the photography, because honestly, I was really bummed out. Two of my favorite photographers were at SakuraCon, and I didn't get to shoot with either of them,
No.
just because things didn't line up. I specifically was like, I'm getting a photo shoot of my Wei Wuxian. I really want to get one done. I just got the costume. I just finished it. I'm really proud of the wig. And blessed be my wonderful human and partner Sakura is actually incredible with the camera, and I feel like we don't use her enough. But it was really nice because we had a panel at, like, I think it was 11 or something. It was super late at night, but our friend, who my good friend Perfection, was helping us with the panel, and she decided, out of the kindness of her heart, to be my Lon 1G for the photo shoot. And so the only time we can squeeze in a photo shoot was right before our panel at like 10:30 at night. And we were originally going to shoot inside, but both of us are like, there's no way we can get good pictures indoors because it's a fantasy China setting. So we're like, there's a garden in the new building. There's a garden that's out, like, it's up on the third floor. So the only people that have access to the building, right?
I spent so much of my time out there when I was at ATC.
Exactly. It's really pretty, and it's safe. The nice thing about this particular garden compared to the old garden is it's safe. It's only access only to people in the event. So we felt safe enough, even though it was 10:30 at night in Seattle, to go outside and take shots. And again, we had to go with the lighting we had because all we had was just like the shitty lights. They had like stringed lights around all of like the top part of the gazebo.
Yeah.
So all we had was that for our lighting, because we had panel stuff. We didn't have time or space to bring a bunch of lights and do like a proper photo shoot. And so we ended up just doing this, which was actually fantastic.
That looks like it's outside or during the day almost. Wow.
Yeah, right. No, the lighting actually ended up working in our favor, and these turned out so beautiful. And these are just little previews I took off of the camera because we haven't processed them. But honestly, even though we only had this little bit of time and space, we took some incredible photos. I'm really excited about all of these pictures, to be perfectly honest. Like, they all look so amazing. And this was 10 p.m. when we were exhausted, late night. But they still turned out really good. Like, we were so determined to make this happen, that's what we were going to do. And so I can't thank Sakura and Perfection enough for doing this stupid, dumb idea with me. But like, we ended up using what we had. So we used angles to save our butts because you can see all the buildings in the background. So it was a lot of like, Sakura was taking pictures from above us to try to get just the garden and to cut out as much of the other details as possible. We did a lot of like close, like cropped pictures because it was so dark, we were able to kind of cut out a lot of like the background noise, which ended up working really nicely, even though we were in such a crazy setting. I can always, I just always applaud photographers who can make you look like you're not in a convention building when you're
And
taking
that's
pictures.
crazy to think about when you're like, okay, I'm surrounded by buildings, on a third floor balcony that's outside, and you're able to take that all out and suddenly just focus on just that area, and you wouldn't be able to tell.
And
And I think that's
they
such an
turn out so
amazing
good.
feat.
I am so ecstatic to see these pictures on like a high digital screen. But like you just, when you're getting, you got to know what you're after. Like once I thought about doing things on the balcony in the garden, I'm like, I have a
I'm
plan.
getting
I know
hot. I'm taking
exactly,
this off.
I know exactly what poses I'm going to do. I had about 5 poses like prepped beforehand. I wasn't as like professional as I do if I was like hiring a photographer. I'm lucky that Sakura just doesn't mind being paid in kisses. So yeah, so I only had a couple of poses prepped really ahead of time, but I knew exactly kind of the view, like the emotion I wanted to evoke as taking these pictures. So I did go into it prepared, and I think it turned out amazing with what little bit we had. And same with a couple of years ago, we did a photo shoot with a really good deer photographer of mine, Kanani, and bless her soul, she was in Korea this year. Can't wait to see her again. She's the photographer I almost always shoot with. A lot of my shots are done with Kanani, but we did a show by rock photo shoot with her a couple of years ago, and you would not have assumed that those pictures were taken with like 2,000 people surrounding us out in a garden. Like, if you get a good photographer who can just really like bring in the focus and find you a good backdrop, you are golden for photography.
I definitely agree to that. Well, since we have maybe about 15 minutes left, I also wanted to show a couple of these photos. This is, again, is from ECC. It's just some behind the scenes shots when we were doing our live from Emerald City, and I thought that'd be kind of fun to show.
Yeah, no, the hardest part for us going live at conventions is internet problems for sure.
Yeah.
But it was really like, it's super, honestly,
Mario.
this new building is gorgeous. Yeah, this new building is really gorgeous.
Yeah, these wooden stairs, they each, you can't really tell, but they have USB ports and phone ports all up and down the stairs. So you can actually charge there. You can eat there. Trying to see maybe if I can get a good shot, if I got one at all.
It was really bright. It's funnier. It was actually better. It was warmer during Emerald City than it was during SakuraCon this year, which is very weird.
Yeah, that Sunday was warm.
Yeah, it was nice and sunny, almost too sunny. Like a lot of these pictures are kind of hard to pull from because
there wasn't a lot of cloud coverage on that.
Yeah, I always that's Bucket Brown, one of my favorite cosplayers.
Yeah, they looked amazing as the god Jocelyn.
Yeah, no, they're incredible. No, it was really fun. It was very interesting because like the lighting differences can change your photography. And I always tell people, like, if you're gonna do a picture, do it on a cloudy day versus a sunny day. And I know it's gonna be colder, but you can always brighten a picture up. You can never take that brightness away, which is why it's so hard to shoot in buildings, because the light is just this stagnant light. And so we have some more comments. We have Sakura. I'm so happy you liked how they turned out. Yes, I'm so excited about them. I will not stop screaming about them. It's my current obsession. Hopeless Night, your Weiwuxian's amazing. Thank you. I'm very happy with how it turned out last minute. In Peru, here. Truth. I think that was for earlier comments. The building service always has terrible service. Yes. Honestly, I don't think we would have survived SakuraCon without Thermo, because they helped us through all of our tech support issues.
Sam is so good for that.
Yeah, no, the people who were running the panel couldn't figure out running the panel rooms couldn't figure out why our slides weren't working. But Sam took like, I don't know what, 10, 15 minutes and just like figured it out and got my panel, like my PowerPoint running and stuff. And I was just like, I can't, this human is impossibly amazing.
I'm trying to get to the ones that have you in them too. We did.
I know I came in a little bit late.
A Mario soft group, just being comfy.
It was some fun. We also did that at SakuraCon. Because we had Thermo with us. So Sakura did Chompette, and then I did Buza, and then Thermo did Toadette. So it was really.
The Chompette was so cute.
I know, I love her. It's so funny because we had so many thrown together costumes that were very last minute. But this year we had so much fun, and we were all so comfortable, and it was very fun. Hopeless Night. I love Bucket Brown. Yes, go check them out. They're a wonderful
Yeah,
cosplayer.
they're amazing. I started following them after you told me who they
Mhm.
were, and I was like,
I've learned so
wow.
much about makeup from them. It's hard finding cloudy days in Arizona, though, so shade is your friend. Yes, actually, that was the trouble I had at Uwu. Taking pictures at Uwu was impossible.
Yeah.
We had to find basically, we found the side of the building where the shade was at, and that's where we took our pictures. And then Prue agreed. 10 points to Sam. Yes, 10 points to Gryffindor. No, Sam is just a lovely human, and they're incredibly good at tech support, and I hope someday I can be that good. Maybe not that good, maybe like partially that good.
You're pretty amazing.
I'm learning. I'm definitely getting better. No, but it was really fun. If anybody has any questions or any other things that they want to hear about that pertain to our what are you mad about? My computer started beeping at me. Any questions about photography or cons or meetups or gatherings or how that works, then put them in the comments. We'll read them. No, I have to say, SoccerCon was a really amazing con because I learned so very much. I honestly was really blown away at how much, even though I've been doing this for 10 plus years almost, how much I learned this last con. I learned so much about gatherings and meetups and how to run them and how I want to run them in the future.
Side question: is Sakura mainly like an anime con?
Yes.
Or how would you classify it?
So okay. Sakura Con is specifically Japanese Asian culture. So the con itself actually has a very strong focus on cultural things. So there's a lot of like Japanese culture. It's also been blending into Chinese culture and some Korean culture as well. And then it has a lot of cosplay and anime on top of it. So it's definitely not like your typical Comic-Con. I wouldn't say it's anything like Comic-Con because it's nothing like Emerald City. It's very, very much focused more on like anime guests, and they have a lot of really fun events like kimonos and tea ceremony and samurai armor setting and like other stuff like that.
So it's more ceremonial, more cultural, more.
Yes, it used to not be quite as much. It's very much so in the last couple of years, but it's. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. It is very much a cosplay con. I would say probably 80 to 85% of the population that go to SoccerCon are cosplayers, which you don't see quite as much for like Emerald City or other Comic Cons. It's kind of a 50-50 cosplayers versus the normal people.
The normies.
The normies. I have never been to a convention out of cosplay unless I've been working for Norse Foundries. So, and even then I dress up. So it's like, I don't know how to not do the thing. I think the dates, we had a question. Does Emerald City have their dates for the next year? I do believe the dates are on their website. The last time I heard, they announced that their dates are going to be February 29th through March 3rd, 2024.
Which is the same weekend, correct?
I
think.
It's, so it's like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Easter is unfortunately at the very end of March. So SoccerCon is going to land, I think it's the 27th, 28th, and 29th, whatever that Easter weekend is of March. So they're kind of back to back this coming year just because of the way Easter dates happen. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. Emerald City has kind of been my work con. I usually work for a dice company, and I enjoy working for them. So
I definitely want to go back next year.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, no, Emerald City is kind of my hangout with my friends con. SoccerCon's kind of my work con. So, Hopeless Night, going to a photo shoot today, and you definitely remind me to find more poses. Yay! I'm happy we helped. I can't wait to see more pictures. You always get some amazing pictures.
What are you shooting? I want to know what you're shooting, Hopeless.
And Peru, yes, good weather. That's about when Seattle starts to get kind of like, it's sunny, but it's still cool and rainy, which is nice for cosplayers.
I loved the weather while I was there. Everyone else was so cold, and I was like, we're sleeping with the window slightly cracked because it feels good.
It was very interesting because it was so wet and rainy during SoccerCon. It was such a different, like, wouldn't have been so bad except for I had such crazy wigs this weekend and like that weekend. So it was just like a lot of like protect thyself. But it's going to be interesting because Emerald City and SoccerCon being so back to back. I mean, they're usually pretty back to back, but they're not usually in the same month.
Is there a reason that it was in two separate buildings? Did like ECC have another
Oh,
con or something going on where they had the other
uh,
half of the building reserved, or?
no. So SoccerCon had gotten their dates earlier. I'm not even going to get into the whole behind the scenes because there is a lot. If people are interested, I would specifically look into SoccerCon chats versus just me by hearsay. But they had already signed their contract for the old building, and then the new building opened up, and so SoccerCon, because of how much they cover, because they also have like game nights and karaoke and a game room and a board game room, and like there's so many things that they decided that they can use both buildings almost in its entirety. So that's what they did. I honestly kind of hope they morph it back to one building just because it is so hard on all of us. But this year, for them to make it happen, basically, it was a combination of contracts already signed and they knew what they were doing, and they
Yeah.
had so much that they wanted to do. And actually, Sakura probably knows a lot more about this. So Sakura says, SoccerCon has more programming. It needs more space than Emerald City for their events because they have a lot of workshops, craft rooms, and stuff, etc. On top of all the normal stuff that you see, like guest signings and vendor hall and artist alley. And
So it was literally just
honestly,
for the extra space.
right. And I always assumed that Emerald City was like a much bigger event just because they used to use the whole building and a couple of theaters and stuff in the area. But to be perfectly honest, I think SoccerCon is now slowly edging its way into the largest con of Washington, if not Pacific Northwest. I know it's the largest Japimation, like the largest like anime based con in all of this coast, like down to California up through Canada. Like it is the biggest event for animation, for Japanese animation. So it's getting there. This year really opened my eyes to how big it was because me and Sakura were complaining about why did they use two buildings? It feels so big. And then we looked at how much what was going on, and we're like, oh, we were in this teeny tiny bit doing this teeny tiny thing when there's so many other things to do.
Yeah.
So that it was just a very interesting situation, and I'm very curious to see how the future is going to handle. So Prue says, my top tip for photo shoots is please always remember to take off the hair tie on your wrist.
Or hide your badge.
Or hide your badge. I have gotten into the habit of putting the badge either on my bag so I can take it off, or if I have like big robes or something draping, then I'll kind of clip it behind me or underneath the robe so I can take like the badge and be like, here, I'm an attendee, but then also hide it for pictures. And then I'm less likely to forget to take it off because I won't remember when somebody asks for a picture. But yes, the hair tie is a very good thing because I have also left like the last photo shoot I did of Wei Wuxian outside of con, I forgot to grab my stupid gauntlets and I was so mad at myself. Oh. Yeah, so like those little tiny things, remember those things.
And don't be afraid. The one thing that, like, if I do take pictures with someone, I like to try to remind myself to remind the photographer, like, I want to look my best. So if you notice hair is out of place or my costume is looking weird in another way, like, please say something. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to make sure photographers are keeping an eye out for that too, because I want to be able to use the photos.
Yeah, no, and I mean, that's not always, that's kind of the double-edged sword of like photographers are so busy, especially in paid photo shoots, and they don't always know what your character looks like, so they might not know if something's out of place. So either the buddy system, having a friend who knows what your character is supposed to look like, or having a photographer who is aware of those things, like the wonderful Head in Clouds. Especially like Sakura is so freaking good at that too. She, being a cosplayer and being a photographer, I think definitely you get an eye for how things are supposed to look. There were so many times during the photo shoot we took that Sakura would stop and like repose us or change our robes or just make sure our hair
the
was
way something was draping. Yeah.
Yeah, just so you remember to like, hey, I want this to look good and I know that this is out of place, but don't rely on your photographer because they probably won't remember. But it is good. It is a good like, if you definitely are doing a shoot like that, having a buddy who might be your spotter because you can't see might be a really good idea. We also have Hopeless, more ceremonial Rose Lilia, yes! And more dorm uniform, the new card that came out, and a new Apple outfit. So you can probably guess which one. Apple's my favorite baby. Just gonna put that out there. Apple's the best. But the new outfit I just got yesterday, and it's velvet. Ooh, I'm excited to see it. That's going to be so much fun. Prue says yes with exclamation points, and Hopeless Night, I've given up on taking off my Apple Watch. Oh no. I mean, that's exactly it, though. It's those little things that you forget about. And Prue says, I have definitely been the eye for people, especially the hair and the shoulder thing. That, for me, it's the wig. Yeah, like when the wig is not correct is where I always mess up in the pictures. Wei Wuxian was just such a mess. I'm changing that wig. I'm thinning out the bangs because they were just too much. It was very much like opening a curtain to take pictures, and I'm like, I need to change this just a little bit. But that would be 1 o'clock, and we've made it through our day. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This was a really fun episode. Not only did I get to chat about a really fun event, but I hope that was good advice. Photography is something I very much enjoy and I very much love doing, and I hope to do more of this year. So it's a nice chat about it.
Yeah, same. I've always liked taking photos, but I've never actually owned like a nice camera. So now that I have a nice camera, your boy's open for booking. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, they're so fun. The pictures are pretty. You guys all saw. Those are just con pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Have fun, Hopeless Night. I cannot wait.
Enjoy your
see your pictures. More Twisted Wonderland. If you ever want to just scream at me about Dame and Twisted Wonderland, my DMs are always open.
Join our Discord.
Yeah, join the Discord, everyone. I am too lazy to pull up links and stuff. You know where to find us. Our website. You got it? Yeah. So Crosstalk Live, we air every Sunday. We feel we can handle it at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard, right now Pacific Standard Time. And we talk about a little of everything. I think we have some guests coming up. I know you guys have some cons coming up, so you'll probably see my face a little bit more. I'll be taking over while they're doing their con stuff.
Yeah, we have Phoenix in like 2 months, which is our next big
con.
Jinx is guesting, which is amazing.
Yay! I am basically gonna try to take it easy for the next month. I have a lot of pictures to go through and edit. I have a lot of stuff to just catch up on. I'm repicking up my Do Star Center cosplay, so you'll probably see some whip coming up soon because I'm gonna start working on that. But yeah, do we have links I can share?
I tried to share the Discord, but I don't know if that's an active. I don't know if that's just for mine.
You want to just grab our website link? Like, let me just.
Yeah.
Just share our website link. Yeah, and so Hopeless says Jinx is also the MC at the PFF. I'm assuming that's Phoenix Fan Fusion.
Yes.
I don't know your guys'
Yes, her and Chris will be the MCs for the adult live masquerade, and then I believe Sam and Amber Skies will be Thermo will be for the children's masquerade.
Oh, fun! That'll be really fun. It's great. Once I figure out what the heck I'm doing with the rest of my year, I'll announce it on my socials. I don't know what I'm doing. I just got through a con. You guys got to give me a couple of weeks. But thank you so much for all being here.
Shout out to our Jinxie here.
Yes, our Jinxie. I'm so excited. This is going to be super fun. I'm excited to see pictures of what's going on for you guys. But yes,
should definitely be interesting. But
you guys, let me just. I'm gonna.
I can't. Oh, here's the website. I found it.
Do you need help?
There's also our Cost Talk Live website as well. Check us out on there.
Yes. Here is, let me share this. Cost Talk Live. That's where all of our socials and stuff are. I don't
know how to point.
Yeah. You can also come check out our Discord. It's a really fun, very chill place to be. I enjoy it there. It's just a lot of us screaming about cosplay and crying over repeat till cry things. So yeah, come check us out. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate everyone who's here. Now that we're no longer con crunching and have a little time, you'll probably see us be a little busier on social media. But thank you for being here and have a wonderful Sunday, everybody. Have a good day.